What to do, YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I've got a jxdn album review to do. So this is jxdn from Travis Barker's DTA Records label. So some of the stuff that Travis Barker's been affiliated with, I mean, obviously he's from Blink 182 and he's done some collaboration stuff like with Yellow Wolf, but he also helped executive produce MGK's Tickets to My Downfall from last year, and he did something with Trippie Redd, which came out back in the winter of this year, and now he found this new cat named jxdn who dropped his debut just a few days ago. So basically I wanted to review this just because it seems like Travis Barker and MGK are kind of carving out like a whole like realm of kind of music and stuff, just to kind of say that there's more of stuff like the Blink 182 and Tickets to My Downfall stuff, which is good because that had some pretty good themes. So here's what to expect from jxdn if you don't know who he is, which I'm going to describe later. So basically this guy is kind of like a young 20-something, early 20-something pop rock artist who sounds like a lot more youthful version of Blink 182 and a somewhat more youthful version of MGK on Tickets to My Downfall. It's similar to that. It's not to the point where it's a knockoff and it steals ideas, but it's bringing back punk in a lot of ways, and I feel like that's kind of underappreciated just because most of the times it just would seem like it's a single or two. Like, you'll catch something from Green Day, you'll catch something from Offspring or something like that, one of those folks, and then you won't really get like the same. So yeah, this kind of getting some of that, but there's also tinges of rap in here, very slight. I feel like this is very inventive just because for Generation Z, maybe some of these folks are not too familiar with like Blink 182 from back in like the late 90s and 20 years ago and such, Green Day, those type people. There are more folks, I just can't really think of them, maybe like Sum 41, some of those folks, like so it's good. It's good. It's a good reboot here. This album's going to get a high score just because of the sheer amounts of singles that it has. It has 5 of them. Plus, a lot of them are real good. They've been tearing up the rock charts. If you know who the Ian Dior guy is, he's on this project, and he basically hit #1 across the past season with it's like some 24K golden or something like that. So it's relevant. That's definitely one thing this project has, is its relevance. It's just being able to say, like, chances are if you listen to the radio and rock radio in some cases, you're going to know about some of this stuff. It kind of dabbles in like pop rock, but there's enough rock on here to where if you're just a fan of rock, you don't like the sellout bubblegum type stuff, it's not too much of that either. So but yeah, to get to the description of jxdn, basically he was a cat on TikTok. He's 19, 20 when he was working on this. Travis Barker found him through a song called Comatose, and then basically helped executive produce this project. Got him on his label, helped him out, boosted him, got him the supplies he needed to make an album. If he needed the extra help, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know I kind of am on TikTok, but I'm not a content creator. So that's kind of the thing there. But that was kind of as MGK was doing like Tickets to My Downfall. So it was kind of Travis Barker had stuff that he was working on. So, I mean, obviously this is the fruits of the labor from last year, and it's good to kind of see that. So, but we'll go ahead and get to the singles now. So the first one was Angels and Demons, and this one does not really feel too much like a rock song at first. Kind of feels like, to me, it felt like a Spotify song, definitely for streaming purposes more so than like car and rock radio station purposes. But apparently that's like the most popular song off this project. There are singles from this that I like better, but it's good as a good introductory song to him. Yeah, I liked what I heard of it, but the 2 ones that I liked, I'm going to go ahead and say them. So the ones I preferred more were So What and then Think About Me. Both of those were real good. So What kind of had like the most club kind of feel. I mean, I know this guy is not old enough to drink, and he's not old enough to really be at the club for the most part yet, but he kind of does like somewhat of house parties, somewhat of just like outings. I feel like he kind of has more outings, just social kind of get-togethers more so than going to the club, taking shots. And I don't even know if Travis Barker did that sort of stuff. I mean, really, I mean, pop punk knows how to like have social type stuff with that sort of outings more so than just going to the club and taking a bunch of shots, dance clubs, that sort of stuff, strip clubs. So it's interesting to kind of see it back and forth. But yeah, so that's probably the most social one I felt like was So What. Tonight's another good one. Um, I'm trying to think of, yeah, that one felt more rock related, more so than the other two, but I think that one has Ian Dior on there, and that one felt to me more like a house party type song. Um, Really kind of, I mean, it's not quite as upbeat as So What was, but I did kind of like the feel to it. I mean, I'm having to remember like 16 songs, so this is more than the standard 12 song package, so it's a lot to kind of remember. But I mean, all of these have good melodies. I mean, he sings throughout the whole way through, so if you're thinking like this is kind of a rap rock blend, it's not like MGK on like Hotel Diablo. It's more Tickets to My Downfall type stuff. So that's kind of the thing. Better Off Dead was probably my least favorite of the 5 singles, but it's still pretty good. I mean, that one had a lot of melody to it. That's the most sing-songy one out of all these. He's just, he kind of dances around that song. I didn't quite like the production on that one nearly as much, but it's a good song. I mean, you can definitely sing along to it. It's got like an earworm type feel, so that's the most earworm one of all 5 of the singles. And then Think About Me was the next one. That one has another real rock type feel like Tonight does, and yeah, I felt like Think About Me was kind of another. I felt like that was another one for like, it kind of had like a concert feel to it. Felt like it just in kind of a motivated kind of mood and outing kind of thing, like I was describing earlier. So all of these kind of have that. I mean, these are not, sometimes you'll get down tempo, like Metallica's pretty good at like not every single one was like a power ballad or like a car song that you just sped up the highway to, or some stuff like that, or like a real up tempo and kind of more furious and kind of riff heavy type song. I mean, none of these are really riff heavy, but the thing about it is they don't really remind me too much of punk either. Like the closest one that reminds me of punk is like So What. I mean, I feel like I guess Better Off Dead kind of reminded me of something Blink 182 would do, but I mean, these are like, these all have like a light rock feel to them. So that's kind of the thing. The riffs, I mean, if you're looking for riffs and you're looking for something that to shred and headbang to, this really doesn't have that. And it doesn't have like, like the complete showcase of the band. I feel like the star is Jaden, but I do like the instrumentation on these singles. I mean, that's definitely the thing. They're interesting. And there's none of these that, I mean, minus slightly Better Off Dead, that I feel like could not be just interesting to just listen to the production of. And that's kind of the thing there. So it wins just on all cylinders, just for the fact of being interesting and not losing the tempo, losing the energy, losing the connection or something like that. I mean, all of these basically can be interchanged with throughout periodical times of the night, afternoon, evening, just going about your day and being on the move. So that's kind of the thing about these. They're a lot of fun, and the songs understand that, like, you've got probably something having to do with like motivation on your mind, which is not too bad. I mean, it's not much ruminating, it's not much kind of thought process, and kind of more a thinker's mentality, and it's not like that's a problem for those. I mean, that's why I like NF and some of those folks, but it's pretty much on the go, and that's kind of the thing. So it's fun within that setting to be able to do that. And obviously there's more to the project, and I would actually have to say that that's one of the project's few weaknesses, is just the fact that it's kind of sluggish when it comes to switching up the tempo. I mean, most of these kind of have a setting of kind of having like something to do. I mean, there's not much time to waste time. I mean, there's a song called "A Wasted Year," but even that one is not really dealing with the concept of. I mean, it sounds like Jaden is busy. It doesn't sound like his schedule is kind of free. That's kind to put it lightly, I suppose that would be something. So it's got an interesting tempo, and I like the rhythm of the album. But to talk about like the songs off the project that I recommend to you, it'd be easier just to recommend the songs I don't recommend, which out of 16 songs minus the 2 skits, I would have to say the only ones I didn't enjoy that much were Angels and Demons Part 2, and then Tell Me About Tomorrow, the title track. So both of these were slower attempts trying to find a different rhythm for the project, but they did not quite pack the excitement. Maybe he'll be able to do that on his second album. And another theme to this project is there's a lot of depression and kind of like dark kind of means of thinking. Like the psychology of the project really kind of implies that he's not in the cheeriest of mood, which I noticed with like Blink 182's 9. But some of these Better Off Dead, So What, Brain Dead, 1 Minute. I would even say Last Time is another one. A lot of these kind of deal with like the more kind of ending things and kind of moving on type attitudes. Linkin Park used to be pretty good at that, but it's kind of, I was hoping for like more kind of topics. I mean, I don't really see so much mention of the band that much, but kind of MGK was better in terms of topic standpoints with Tickets to My Downfall, just because some of his records kind of dealt with more of like exuberant topics like My Ex's Best Friend and Bloody Valentine and Concert for Aliens. The 3 singles off that project just had a lot more jovial time, and it kind of downplays kind of sulking more in like some of the more kind of brooding moods more so than folk. I mean, it's an upbeat album. You wouldn't notice if you don't listen to the lyrics, if you're just paying attention to the melodies and the production. But once you start listening to it, it's kind of, I like it because it's like that. And I prefer that to overt positivity like so much is doing right now. But just a misnomer to kind of pay attention to. So, but yeah, so it's this kind of, I suppose that would be a slight thing, is kind of hoping for like more kind of palette as far as some of that kind of goes. But this album's still going to get a 10. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, far and away, the melodies on this project, the singing melodies, the production on here, and like just how he handles the project happens to be real good. I mean, the execution of it is what I meant to say. So that just happens to be like the thing, and plus the fact that he managed to do it. I mean, this could have just been 12 songs and I could have liked a handful of those, but he went the extra mile and gave us some more stuff. He brought Ian Dior, Machine Gun Kelly, maybe like a couple other folks along for the ride, and that's kind of the situation. So this is a great debut. I mean, that's definitely the thing, is it's a great debut. And I kind of thought that, in the sense of romance, kind of like My Chemical Romance and Green Day, and trying to think of some of those other kind of more gothic, and even MGK in recent years, some of those folks that did that. I mean, I definitely feel like the theme of kind of like the dark ruminating that kind of goes on. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm complaining about something when I gave this record a 10. I mean, like I said, this record gets a 10. I'm going to give the Social Score a 10 too, just because 5 singles on a debut is extremely good. Basically, all of them charted on the rock charts. I can't see him messing up and not coming back strong on like his second project. So that's going to be interesting to see how he evolves and what else kind of goes on. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And when you talk about like Blink 182 doing this type stuff, I mean, it's an excellent debut that handles it well. But I would, I'm just trying to think of like, the only thing I would have to say is not so much as bad talking matter, just as much as I want like more MGK type flavor to it. I mean, the thing about MGK that I talk about him so much is he has an interesting personality outside of music. And that's kind of the thing. He's interesting. He's the kind of person, that you do want to hit up and kind of say, let's go do this. But you know, I'm kind of looking. It's not like this Jaden dude isn't, but you know, I feel like some of the topics, like, I mean, pills, you know, that one, but you know, you need like topics that are like addicting. And you know, like I said, this record gets a 10, but just in terms of more interesting topics, you know, or well, it makes it sound like I'm saying like the subject matter on this project is boring. It's not boring. It just is not inflammatory. It's not inflammatory with its interest, and that's kind of the thing. It just doesn't jump off the page, and that's kind of the thing. So, but other than that, I mean, that's basically what you have to look at. So this gets straight 10s, and I would have to say like this is definitely a debut that you want to try out. So yeah.